Okay, so I'm gonna try to do something today that's different than what I've been doing, and it's gonna be more of like a really deep metaphysical knowledge that I'm gonna try to transmit as clear as possible. So the metaphysical knowledge is that, and it may start to rain soon, it's like a little bit cloudy outside today, but the metaphysical knowledge is that there's a few different things, okay? So it all has to do with the ego and your view on your life. And so if you think about it, first of all, there's no proof for past or future. There's only proof for what's going on right now. That's the first kind of main point about this, but it goes further than that. So you have a past, and you have an idea of yourself that you've held on to for what you would call your whole life, right? So you believe that you have lived X amount of years and you have had this experience and this experience, and that you were that person who was experiencing that stuff, and that stuff happened in the past, and you are now in the present, and more things will happen in the future. There's something about this that needs to be looked at. The proof that you have is that you're here right now having an experience. That's the proof. So we know that experience is real, and we know that what we're experiencing right now is what we could call real, even though everything in totality is kind of like unreal but real at the same time. So like what you're experiencing is real, your mind's interpretation of what you're experiencing is unreal. So this is the kind of metaphysical thing that people try to get across, is that there's this level of understanding that you're creating your life as you are right now. So right now, the reason why you're experiencing yourself as who you are right now is because you are, it's starting to rain. The reason why you're experiencing yourself as you are right now is because your mind is telling you that everything that you've experienced has led you to be who you are right now. Even though the direct experience that you have right now is that you are just here. There's no direct experience of all of the things that have led up to your presence right now. There's only right now. So who's to say that you couldn't just, I guess, completely change your entire reality by changing what you put your attention on. Meaning, you no longer put your attention on yourself being one specific way. You basically almost imagine yourself to be a completely different assemblage. And a lot of people get scared when they think about that. But in the midst of it, what is there to be scared of if there's still a you to experience this left? So if you try to do any of this stuff, then you start to see that there's a part of you, I'm gonna turn back around. There's a part of you that kind of is afraid to let go of the current experience and the current interpretation of the experience that you're experiencing right now. But there's another part of you that wants to be free of all limitations, period. So there's this kind of experience that you can have of yourself outside of yourself, where you realize that the self that you've been imagining is just a small aspect of the whole. And what the whole is the whole of what you're experiencing in that moment. So you have this kind of like bubble of experience and this field of view that you're looking through, right? And you're experiencing this. That whole bubble of your experience, or that whole bubble of your point of view, is your experience. Your experience is you. You are your experience because you are what is experiencing that experience, and therefore the experience is your experience because you identify with that experience. So with that, then by direct experience, everything in your field of view would also be you, because you are the one who's experiencing that, and that is your experience. And if you're experiencing your experience, and your experience includes everything that you experience, then there's no way that you couldn't be also a part of that experience. And if you're a part of that experience, then you have to be also the whole of that experience because you are a part of it. And to be a part of something implies that you are also a part of the whole that makes up that something. So, the teaching that I'm trying to get to is that you and your environment are no different from each other in the midst of experience and personal experience. The only thing that separates you from your environment is your mind and your interpretation of yourself, and where your boundaries end and the environment's boundaries begin. So if you like look at your hand from first person point of view or something, and then you see your hand and then you see the background, what would happen if your distinction of your hand versus that background was changed by you? And you then saw this pole as part of your hand, meaning that you saw part of the background as being part of you. Then you would literally think you were that pole experiencing that, and then your viewpoint of who you were would shift into a different viewpoint. I'm like a mile out from my house right now, so I'm gonna be really wet when I get back. Maybe, I don't know. It looks like it's about to start pouring like hardcore. It already is. Anyways, and take whatever metaphysical knowledge you want to out of that too. That whole, the sequence of words that I say, all of it has other things that are capable of being grasped behind it. May it be feelings or thoughts or emotions or whatever. Just take whatever you want and then leave the rest. Anyways, the good thing about all of this stuff is, one sec. The good thing about all this stuff is that that as long as you're experiencing something, then there's nothing to fear, right? So even when people die or have near-death experiences, they're still feeling that they're experiencing something, because they come back and they're like, oh, I saw this white light, and that means, that implies that there was an eye there after they died. And that's all that anybody really wanted to know, right? Was like, what happens after you die? Well, obviously there's some sort of eye there that is left after you die. And you know, like, it's dependent on what you want to identify with after that. And you can literally construct your reality if you can break out of the cycle of, you know, reincarnation. But that's separate, kind of like different level teaching, I guess. This is more of like trying to show the basic aspect of how you are literally a part of your environment, and how the only thing that's separating your hand from the background is your perception of the background, as opposed to your perception of your hand. But if you were to take off the labels of background and foreground, then there would be no more perception of a background and a foreground, and therefore your hand and the background would be no separate from each other, and they would be perceived as such. So then you would start to feel your entire environment as if it was you. And that could happen in any situation. So not just with a background, but with another person or with anything like that. And they call that like ego death, when you kind of merge with your environment. Yeah, anyways, so that was as far as I'm gonna go with this. I'll just make another video sometime later today, I guess. Yeah, so you guys have a good day. Peace.